Trust me. Yeah, trust me, my man.
All right. Well, it's time to brave the dungeon.
Is low.
Reptilian Pants of Slaughter. Okay, good. Since up friends only, I don't have to worry about you jumping in on accident. Hey, I'm on level 2.
Not yet.
Jesus, come on. Some drops. Oh, damn. Oh my gosh. No drops yet. Oh shit. Fuck that.
I wish I could do that. I wish I could do that.
Fuck. I ain't got any gear, man. I can't fight this motherfucker. Jesus, man. Alright, so far I got a club. Oh my god. Thank you. Fucking armor. Thank you, gosh. Oh my goodness. Fuck, even his weapon was stronger than mine. This is some bullshit. There we go. We're gonna explore this whole floor before we go try to challenge the butcher. Okay. This is what I got. This is what I got to fight the butcher. Basically nothing. Fuck. Ah, fucking bastard.
This will aid me.
Godly plate of the whale. I will gladly take that shit. The fuck?
Just the thing.
Alright, my friend, we have defeated the butcher. Don't worry, Cormac. We gonna get you right, brother.
Not enough rats.
Glorious development.
Wow, King Leoric soon, huh? Guess I'm gonna fight the boy. The king, the Mad King.
Make your peace quickly. Patience.
I would have chosen the same.
Okay. Okay, man. Okay. Wait. That's level 4. What did I see on the other side of the map? Oh. Archangel's Staff of Apocalypse. Can't use that shit. Drop me. Magic user weapons. I don't want that crap. Wait a second. Oh yeah, King Leorc Sim. Oh yeah. We already did that. I'm tripping. Not spill.
This will help.
We're definitely not going that way. Let's the exit to the next floor. Not going there. Yes, sir. Oh, this is a know-nothing floor. Fuck. Okay.
The smell of death surrounds me. And so, locked beyond the gateway of blood, and past the hall of fire, valor awaits for the hero of light to awaken.
This cannot be opened yet.
Yes, sir.
It won't open. This cannot be opened yet.
Kane's Valor. Man, I'm gonna use that. Okay.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah. My boy, the guy who played with the whale. Bruh.
I require more wrath.
Thank you.
Okay. Level 6. Alright. We're almost halfway down. Another godly plate of the whale.
seek to steal the treasure. Secured within this room. So speaks the Lord of Terror, and so it is written.
Before the wind.
Oh man.
Not enough wrap.
Chamber of Bone. Oh shit.
I require more wrath.
Knew it. Damn it. Only one law may be active at a time. Okay. That was stupid. Oh man. Damn. Keep getting these Crusader shields. I'm like, fuck. I need a shield for this guy.
Good thought.
Akarats will be done.
Useful skill. Well chosen.
My wrath is low.
I can see what you see not. Vision milky, then eyes rot. When you turn, they will be gone, whispering the hidden song. Then you see what
I
cannot
require
be.
more wrath.
Shadows move where light should be. Out of darkness, out of mind, cast down into the halls of the blind.
Halls of the blind, huh?
Not enough wrath. My wrath is low.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Ah, good.
My wrath is low.
Whew. Fuck this place, man. Jesus. Anyway.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another Worst to Best list. Grab your lucky socks as you're looking at the dice man himself, Senza Gabbiani. This has been the hardest list I've had to create. This is mostly based off of the functionality of the Super Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance, and the Pixel Remaster, and how we can operate the slots, and this will greatly change the list. An example, with the GBA and SNES, you can properly manipulate the slots to get what you want, right at the start of a battle. Whereas with the Pixel Remaster, from what we know right now, it's a lot more random. The pause buffering is also a little more awkward, which makes it a little bit worse. So for this list, we're just going to be looking at the Super Nintendo and the GBA. Since these are all available right off the hop, availability isn't going to be something we think about, and it's only going to be usefulness for this video. Thank you guys all for the support over the past couple of videos, and let's get into this list!
Good shit,
Number
bro.
8, City and Rabbit. Starting off the list is a pretty straightforward one. If you fail the
Not enough
slots, you get a mini heal. It also does cure darkness, poison, and sleep.
Didn't
It
know
doesn't
that.
damage undead characters, so a Muddle Legmore would never be worth it except if you were doing it for the memes. Small spell power of only 10, and it is affected by magic defense, so the higher magic defense you have, the smaller it will heal. Pretty obvious that it's a low tier ability that is meant to punish the player. We almost pour salt on the wound with the little, here, have a tiny bit of HP while we're at it. 2 out of 10 usefulness ability. Coming in at number 7 is Summon. This slot is a pretty interesting one. It can either be one of the most clutch, best things you'll ever get, or, more often than not, something you just really don't want. There are 26 possibilities when you use this, even more on the Game Boy Advance version, and it's essentially the Magicite item in slots form. Usually you'll get something that's pretty useless for whatever scenario you are in battle. But this is Setzer we're talking about, and he's all about gambling. So if you're feeling lucky, in the end, I'd only give this a 4 out of 10, and the only reason it's not a 3 out of 10 is because of the random clutch factor, honestly. Moving on up in the list is the Prismatic Flush. This move is pretty easy to pull off at the
Yes,
beginning
sir.
of a fight, the middle of the fight, at the end of a fight. The slots RNG for this are pretty simple. But what it does is it deals non-elemental damage.
Very.
It does suffer from split damage, and with a spell power of 84, it's not a terrible move. There's just a better one we'll get to later on in this list. Your best bet would be to use it as a single target spell, which makes it a decent boss nuke on the first turn. 5 out of 10 slot ability, as it's easy to hit for some decent boss damage. At the top of the back half of this list is the Chocobo. This move is also very easy to hit, and it's great for boss fights like Brains. It's something like a speedrun. The slots RG lets you bang it out right off of the hop. As soon as you get this first one, you're almost guaranteed to get the next two. It has a spell power of 36, but it doesn't suffer from split damage, making it more effective on mobs than prismatic flushes. It's a grounded move, and despite it being non-elemental damage, it acts like an earth spell and it doesn't hit flying enemies. So it's another 5 out of 10 ability, but for a different reason. Instead of doing it to nuke bosses, it's great for mob nuking. At number 4, we got Mega Flare. Now this is Bahamut without needing Bahamut. For non-elemental damage that does ignore split damage. With the spell power of 92, it is quite a strong spell. You do need either to wait later on the fight, or you can manipulate it at the beginning of a fight using an echo screen right off the hop. It's not easy with the pause buffering to get, but you can do it after the echo screen animation is done. If you're doing a natural magic run or something along those lines, it's actually a really good ability to have in your back pocket. 7 out of 10 ability for nuking multi-enemies all at once. Taking home the bronze today is Dive Bomb. This move isn't available first turn of a fight, but you can manipulate slots using certain items to get the RNG spot you need for slots to be possible. This is another spot where we're going to use an echo screen, and this is where these slots really start to shine. Dive Bomb has a spell power of 130, but it does suffer from split damage. This means it's about as strong as a tier 3 spell. It's very powerful for boss nuking. It looks sick. It doesn't really make sense in a lot of spots where you have the airship come in and bomb a whole bunch of stuff, but that doesn't matter. For an 8 out of 10 ability, you're going to hit some bosses in style. Coming in at number 2 is Joker Doom. We're going to call it version 1. This move may seem like a really bad one. At the end of the day, it kills your entire party, and that's not good. However, using a fun little bug in the game, you can actually use this to target enemies. Casting Muddle on a party member, and then breaking it will screw with the targeting. This means it ends up getting retargeted onto what would be a full party death sentence onto the enemies. This is only quote-unquote required on a few bosses, and the bosses are as follows. Ultras 1, 3, and 4. Not 2 for some reason. Bubaba, all 3 versions. Welk, for some reason. Vargas and Ipu, again, for some reason. Ifrit and Shiva, again, for some reason. Guardian, Behemoth, the living form, and both forms of Chatternook, as well as Rexel on Friends. You can also use it on tiers 1, 2, and 3 in the final boss fight. This is where Reverse Joker Doom, as it's now going to be called, really starts to shine. There's an even better option for all other fights other than the ones that we just mentioned, and we're going to get to that right away. This is a solid 8.5 ability, as it's a great backup in the event that you screw up the next one. Coming in at the top of the list, if you didn't know already, it's Joker Doom. This move is a simple setup of just using an echo screen, and then you can kill everything on screen with the fabled 777. The first 7 is the toughest to hit, requiring some pause buffering, but the next 2 have a 20 frame window to hit, or 1/3 of a second, in a very consistent spot, so you don't even need to pause buffer. This will work on every enemy in the game, except the ones that we listed in the previous Joker Doom. This move will also bypass death immunities, making it an even better version of Vanish Doom since you can do it with one character. Honestly, at the end of the day, you really have no reason to do any other slot if you want to be overpowered and just kill everything in one shot. This literally does more than 9,999 damage. Even if you can have someone do that 8 times in a row, this just does it so much faster. there are some spots where enemies can throw off the slots RNG using specific spells. These can be ninjas throwing schemes, I am doing an atomic ray. Also, if you mess up the initial Echo Screen Joker Doom, there is a couple of backups, but after that, you end up having to just be to your own devices and try and beat the fight the old-fashioned way. So it's not completely foolproof. Overall, a really strong ability that will completely break the game for you. 9 out of 10. In case you guys were wondering what my list would look like in the event that we weren't allowed to manipulate or pause buffer, and you basically had to do like what Pixel Remaster would give you, my list would look like this. Joker Doom version 1, where the entire party dies. Obsidian Rabbit, Joker Doom, Summon, Chocobob, Prismatic Flush, Mega Flare, and Dive Bomb. And that's based off of the odds of you actually seeing something and how easy it is to actually get. Thank you! So there you have it. There's my list of what I think are the most useful slot abilities in the Super Nintendo and GBA version. If you leave them up to a chance, it's a lot tougher, and why I had to omit the VR for this particular list. Like I said, the pause buffering is extremely awkward and somewhat inconsistent at times. And as we
I've been watching a lot of tier list content on YouTube lately, so I thought I would make you watch some. This is my Final Fantasy V job tier lists. I'm going to break all 22 of the jobs from Final Fantasy V into one of 6 tiers with these caveats. These are the jobs from the base game and also the newly released Pixel Remaster. The advanced and iOS versions of the game have a couple of extra jobs that unlock in the end game that are difficult to place in tier list. They're so absurdly broken, and you also unlock them extremely late in the game. I'm not really going to consider those. The other caveat is that I'm going to look at these jobs in terms of the Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta, which is my preferred way to play the game. This is a yearly event in Final Fantasy V where you determine which jobs you're allowed to use over the course of the game. Typically, you will get 4 of the 22 jobs. You have to stick with those 4 jobs for the whole game, and you have to have one of your 4 characters assigned to one of those jobs, and exactly one of those jobs for most of the game. It's a challenge run, basically, but it's a very interesting way to play the game, and it's my preferred way to play it, and it opens up interesting boss strategies and synergies you might want to not explore in a casual run of the game. Some jobs are better for Fiesta runs than others. Now, I'm going to state upfront that this is obviously just my opinion, but I did check with NASA, and they ran it with their supercomputers, and it turns out that my opinions are always correct. So if you disagree with anything that goes into this tier list video, what you need to do is scroll down if you're really, really mad at me in the comments section, and then we can all just laugh at how butthurt you are. So, we're going to jump into this tier list here. I've got them arranged alphabetically for no clearly defined reason. Up first is the Bard, and the Bard is an S tier job in the Final Fantasy V Fiesta. No question in my mind. I've been very, very lucky over the years. I've had
at times. And as we mentioned before, what's up guys, and welcome to another worst to best video. Today we are looking at the mustache man himself, the Samurai Cyan. Mustache man child, I believe it. And honestly, his sword tech isn't exactly good. There are a few uses for it, but due to long charge or cast times, there tends to be a lot of options in the game that are just better. But we will pretend for this list that he has nothing else and you are forced to use him. Even the Pixel Remaster version, there is a charge of time, it just happens after the selection instead of a charge of bar like what they have in the Super Nintendo. Because it works so drastically different, but somehow also the
same.
we will look equally between the SNES, GBA, and PR. This was a tough list, so go easy on me in this one. Just another note, guys, 77.6 people that are watching are not subscribed. So I want to thank all new faces for coming in. Thank you. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the bottom so you can get notified of more of these lists. That being said, let's get into it. Starting off our list is Sword Tech 5, Dragon. Even though it does help HP and MP refill, it is based off of Cyan's spell power.
Which is
absolutely
abysmal.
atrocious.
Jeez.
The spell power for the move itself is only 12. For reference, Osmos has a spell power of 26 and only costs 1 MP, and is a spell you can learn decently early. It will also heal dead enemies as the heal/damage will be reversed, so be careful with it. Overall, by the time you learn it at level 24, you'll have better options within the character and your party will be able to deal with the minimal amounts of healing you get from this ability. You will get it before floating continents, so we can say a 4 out of 10 for availability, but the usefulness is pretty low, and I'd say a 2 out of 10. Sure, there is use, but only if you want to see a different animation, essentially. 3 out of 10 ability. Following up Dragon is another skill that has some niche situations, but overall, I don't think has a lot of merit. This is Sword Tech 3, Tiger. Even though it has the HP of the enemy and inflicts sap, which is insanely strong on the Pixel Remaster, it doesn't work on enemies immune to death, and there's a decent amount of them. You get this move pretty early on at level 12, however, at this point in the game, you can mostly 1 or 2 shot most enemies with their normal abilities. This renders this ability mostly useless early game, and later on it could be useful, or you could use abilities that just deal higher amounts of damage with good strategy and setting. The choice is yours. It becomes available early for a solid 9 out of 10, but falls off hard with the 2 out of 10 usefulness, which I rank quite a bit heavier than availability. This move comes in for me at a 4 out of 10. Sword Tech number 8, or Oblivion, is an interesting one. It has over twice the hit rate of Doom, so it will hit way more often than it doesn't. It is unlocked at level 70, or more often doing Science Dream scenario in the World of Ruin. For where you get this and the usefulness of it, it's probably not going to do you too much outside the tiered fights and randomly come to ground game. You won't be getting this until World of Ruin either way you go about it. Not a whole lot to say about this ability other than it's pretty cool. It installs enemies' death counters, which means basically if they have a death counter attack, they're not going to do it. So it does make it a bit safer to use if you're in a bad situation. Good example would be on tier 1. This skill takes quite some time to get, and it does have an atrocious charge time, making it a 2 out of 10 availability, and the usefulness is horrendous, so I'll give it a 5 out of 10. Overall, this move comes out at another 4 out of 10. Rounding off the bottom of our list is the first Sword Tech, Bang. Pretty strong ability with a power of 120. Obviously untargetable, as none of the Bushidos are targetable. You start off with this ability at level 1, and since it ignores row and defense, it keeps Cyan safe in the back row, while still doing some pretty dumb damage. This ability does go off with strength, which is good, since Cyan has a terrible magic stat and a decent strength stat. This move can be a good boss killer early on, especially with its low charge-up time. Availability literally can't get better at a level 1 skill, making it a 10 out of 10. It's pretty useful in a lot of spots, depending on enemy defense. I give the usefulness a 5 out of 10, giving this ability, overall, 6 out of 10. Sword Tech 6 Eclipse is our number 4, and honestly, it's a decently interesting one. It's a World of Ruin get, if we're following the leveling guide, learned at level 34. This move is interesting because it ignores split damage, is based off of spell power, which makes it poopy. It is unblockable and even inflicts stop on all enemies with a hit rate of 140, which is quite high. So it is mostly a stop on all cast that consumes no MP for the cost of a large charge-up time. But the chances to use the stop on all while everyone else is something queued up can come in quite handy depending on the situation. This would even help on some bosses like Demon who are not immune to stop. This spell comes in a bit late for a unit with a 6 out of 10 availability, but the usefulness, while somewhat niche, can help you really get control of a battle. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 usefulness. Overall, we're going to give it 6 out of 10. This may throw some people off, but I think the 7th Sword Tech, Tempest, is only a top 3 ability. The biggest issue is it comes in really late at level 44. So odds are, if you want any good use out of it, you will go to Cyan's Dream Scenario. It attacks 4 times with a tremendously long charge-up time. It has a battle power of 70 and ignores defense, which does make it pretty enticing. It usually ends up being the player's choice throughout the back end of the game because of how good it is. I would say this is the main reason anyone would actually want to use Cyan. This makes the usefulness a 10 out of 10, even though the availability is a little rough with the 7 out of 10, even if you go to Cyan Stream. Probably a 4.5 out of 10 if you go the leveling route, since it comes in at 44, which is almost endgame level. A solid 8 out of 10 Bushido in my book still. Number 2, funny enough, is Sortek number 2, Sky. And this move is greatly different depending on your version. In the Pixel Remaster and the GBA version, it's somewhat okay. In the Pixel Remaster version, it works okay as the counter, but as soon as you get your ATB back, Cyan leaves the counterattack phase, and you have to reuse it again. So it's not that good unless you're using it in some very niche situations. In the GBA version, you can leave it up and he'll eventually counter. However, in the Super Nintendo version, this move is completely broken. It has a very glitch state which can let you do things like, well, this. It's a very interesting thing that even though it's a move based off of his magic stat, because why would we want strength abilities on a strength character? It ignores defense and is unblockable as its counter. You get it super early for a 10 out of 10 accessibility. In the Pixel Remaster, it's kinda useless, so I'd give the usefulness around like a 2 out of 10. But in the Super Nintendo version, it's a super sick move with a lot of fun attributes and situations you can use it in, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. So even averaging out all of this, I'd still call it a good 8 out of 10 ability because I am totally biased at all. Coming at the top of our list is the worst version of Tempest, and that is Sortek 4, Blurry. So what's the worst version of Tempest at the top of the list? It's the same move with a little less attack power, and it doesn't ignore defense. So why would it be in here? Where it does shine is how early you get it. This is the Bushido move in my opinion. You get it at level 15, so it's quite early in the game. It's a great boss killer as you get 4 uncontested attacks that can get you through a lot of stuff. From both the Kefkin and Arch section, up to the floating continent if you're using Cyan, and that includes bosses and trash mobs along the way. This is the reason why you would put Cyan in your party, along with Dispatch for majority of the game. Accessibility isn't perfect, but boy is it pretty good with an 8 out of 10. You'll be using this move a lot. 9 out of 10 ability for a total score of 8.5 out of 10. So that's the list concluded on the Bushido abilities. Like we said earlier, not exactly a great tool to use, but if you were doing something like a natural magic run or some other challenge run, these skills can get you out of some sticky situations. Unfortunately, a lot of them are based on someone's worst stat, which is magic. Likely, you'll probably be teaching him magic. It might be worth boosting his magic on some level ups so that the skills are a bit better. But that's up to you. For this guy, I'm off to make another list video. Don't forget to hit that silly subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Let's see
Welcome
this.
back, everyone. This is J7J's bringing you a guide for all the unique playable characters in Final Fantasy Tactics, such as how their abilities work, how to recruit them, and other things. I do have a specific playlist where I go over the best builds for every character and job, so please check out the pinned comment and description if you want to make the ultimate characters. To start with, we are beginning with the main protagonist, Ramza Beov, who is unlocked by default and has to be used in all story battles besides those 2 battles and War of the Lions. He is the only character in the game that will stay in the party if his base faith exceeds 94, or if his base bravery is 50 or less, so he can do some wild builds with it. His squire, when compared to other generic squires, has superior abilities, equipment options, and stats. Ultima, though, is just more for that pretty star and for completionists, and I also have videos on how to learn that, so check out the description as well. Ramza also has both male and female stat growth rates, so you can make him a mage or melee fighter. If you want, just note that he can equip the female exclusive equipment, which is a slight letdown. And every time his character sprite changes, he will get new abilities, as well as equipment options, and this happens 3 times throughout the game. In Chapter 1, unlike other squires, he can't equip axes, but he can equip robes. He also starts off with the unique enchant, and this can heal allies at the cost of HP, which is gimmicky, and in most cases I don't recommend using it. But the best of these abilities is his unique tailwind, as it can increase his speed or desired target speed by 1 in battle to a maximum of 50, which can easily turn the tide of fights. In Chapter 2, with Ramza's new look, he can equip heavy armor that has the ability Steal, which will increase the target's bravery, including himself, by up to 5 in battle and 1 permanently. It has a 100% accuracy rate and is by far superior to the Order's praise. I recommend learning this one and to increase Ramza's bravery and other characters to a maximum of 97. But if you want a great treasure hunter, then I recommend having at least one character with low bravery. Finally, in Chapter 4, Ramza's appearance will change one last time. He can now equip light swords, which are the best weapons in the game. He can now learn Shout, which will increase nearly all his stats in battle, and he can learn the disappointing ultimate in a few battles or situations. In short, Ramza's Metal Command has some fantastic support abilities that can make him and his allies very lethal on the battleground, and I recommend learning them if you have enough JP or wants to become accessible. Because of his male-to-female stat growth rates and wide range of equipment options, Ramza can do a variety of things, from physical, magical, and even supporting allies. Check out my videos in the description for the ultimate Ramza builds in each chapter of the game. The second unique character that joins the party is the Machinist Mustadio. He specializes in attacking from afar with his gun, with his unique ability Snipe that can disable enemy actions, immobilize them, and can even petrify undead enemies. He will join the party after the battle in God Machine City. I also don't recommend removing him from the party or allowing him to die, as he is needed for nearly all side quests in the game. And in order to increase the success rate of his ability, you want a higher speed stat, as the success percentage is the speed stat plus 50 for arm and leg shot, and speed stat plus 70 for Seal Evil. Regular gun damage is based only on weapon power, so increasing your PA will do nothing. But you can further increase this damage with attack boosts from the Geomancer or Vehemence from the Dark Knight. Later on into the game, you can also use magic guns. To get an early glacial gun, steal it from this chemist in the Beowulf side quest at Golem. Just make sure he doesn't have safeguard though. You can increase his space stat with the Order's ability. Just make sure to use a character with good or best Zodiac compatibility with him for better results, and not to go above 94 fade, as he will leave the party. Then put on Arcane Strength or Vehemence to increase his magic gun damage, and also an accessory that will boost the elemental of your choice. Just note that some enemies will take increased bonus damage to certain elements, and some will take increased damage. The next character to join the party is Ibelisa's next top model. She will join the party after saving her in the battle at Valley of Swale, and make sure she isn't KO'd. For Dryas, her Holy Sword ability damage is based on her PA times weapon power, with her stronger abilities doing slightly more damage. So ideally, equip items that will give PA and the strongest swords or knight swords, as she will also need these weapons in order to use Holy Sword. I found Hollowed Bolt the most versatile of these abilities because of its range, so I recommend learning it first if possible. Because she is also female, you can take advantage of the exclusive equipment for ladies, which I highly recommend later on into the game, as enemies are stronger and can inflict a wider variety of negative status ailments. Her unique Holy Knight has solid HP and MA growths, so she can also make a strong mage or tank. However, you can level her up as a ninja instead though if you want her to have slightly better PA and speed. Lastly, please keep Mustadio and her two knights, Alicia and Labian, as you will need these three characters in order to get the best accessory in the game, Tyner Rouge. Exclusive only to the War of the Lions version, Luso Clemens, who was originally from Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, he's basically a Ramza clone with his abilities and equipment options. However, he will leave the party if his bravery gets too low, or if his faith gets too high. However, unlike Ramza, his MA isn't as good, but he has a passive poach ability, and he can learn Shout as soon as you get him. For these reasons, Luso isn't a bad choice at all, and even comes with some better than normal equipment when he joins, so so you can take advantage of these items. You can recruit Luso after the mandatory battle at Zeklos Desert in Chapter 3. The next two characters that will join are Rafa and Merrick, right after the battle at the top of Riovate's castle, when Chapter 4 begins. They are sometimes considered some of the worst characters in the game because their attacks are so random in the PS1 version. However, in the War of the Lions remaster, they are better due to their attacks favoring the center tile and can even strike a few more times. Combine this with some of the new items in this remastered version and they are very deadly. Rafa's stats in Skyseer aren't that great besides her speed, but to power up her Sky Manager, I recommend equipping items that will increase her MA and having an item that will boost elemental damage, as a lot of her attacks have a particular element. I also recommend lowering her Fate stat, as having high Faith doesn't actually increase the damage of her unique spells, and because she starts off with a lower Bravery stat, she is often a popular character to use as a treasure hunter. I just recommend lowering her Bravery a bit more for a higher success rate. Now for Merrick, in my opinion, he isn't nearly as good as his sister. His Nether Mattress damage is based on his MA and also how low his Fate stat is, as well as target Fate stat. To me, he is inferior to Rafa in every way besides his one extra move. To make better use of him, lower his Fate stat, and equip items that will increase your MA as well as elemental damage, and you can make him a good bit stronger. Because both are practically mages, you can't use their abilities when silenced, and support abilities like Arcane Strength and Swiftness are fantastic choices, and the ones I recommend. Lastly, I also found using their first two abilities best, as they did more than enough damage and can be casted the fastest. Beowulf is an optional character who I recommend getting, and you can get him as soon as Chapter 4 begins. Head to God for a cutscene, then go to Golem and read the rumor called The Haunted Mine at the Tavern. From here, you want to head to Lasalia for a cutscene with Beowulf. Make sure you choose the second option to accept his invite, and after the series of battles at Golem, you can recruit him. Even though he is a knight, nearly all his unique abilities' success rate is highly dependent on how high his base stat is, so I recommend increasing it with Preach from the Order. Just make sure to have good or best Zodiac compatibility with him. I personally found Drain, Break, and Sleep to be his most useful abilities. And if you want to make him a deadly physical attack character, give him a Night Sword and further increase his Bravery stat. Along with Beowulf, you can recruit the Holy Dragon Reyes. She's similar to other dragons minus the physical attacks. However, she has all three elemental breath attacks, and she can absorb Holy. And a bit later, we will discuss more on her unique human form. After recruiting these two characters, from here, go back to God to continue the side quest, and you will recruit another unique character, a monster, in particular Construct 8. He has passive Atheist, Counter, Defense Boost, and his attacks are based on his PA stat, which is pretty high. If you want to strengthen him further though, I recommend using Steel from Ramza to increase the chances of his reaction ability Counter, which will also increase the damage of it as well. Now, in order to recruit the next unique characters, we need to progress further in the story. In order to recruit Balthier, who is exclusive to the War of the Lions remaster, we need to have defeated Belial at the Free City of Providia. Then, after the battle, either visit Garland, Golan, or Lasalle, and read the Crash and Death's rumor. After, head to Dorder and go into the tavern. Read the rumor and call for guards and try to leave Dorder, where you will have a cool cutscene and battle. This fight should be easy, but just be a little careful as Ramza starts off a bit forward. Balthier will join with Raz Alchthai and Mirage Vest, which are one of a kind if you're on the mobile version of the game. Balthier is very mobile with 4 base move and jump. He has a very good speed stat and can equip a variety of things. He is essentially a better version of Mustadio and Thebes with a built-in save bar. I suggest building him as some kind of physical attacker and learning his plunder abilities, which have a higher steal percentage than the Thief's Steel, and Barrage to do great damage. For these reasons, he is one of the best characters in the game and arguably the best. Now, for the strongest character in the game, Orlando. You can recruit him after the series of battles at Fort Besla. His wonderful stat growth in practically all areas can equip not only heavy armor, but clothing and hats as well. On top of this, he comes with Excalibur and has access to Fel, Holy, and Divine Knight abilities. To make him even stronger though, I recommend increasing his bravery and equipping items that will further boost his PA for even more insane damage, as all his sword attacks are based on his PA and weapon power. And the abilities I recommend learning first, or using primarily, are Hollow Bolt for its range, Shadow Blade for self-healing, and Crush Weapon to break the weapons of stronger enemies. Just note that the Crush skills won't work on enemies with Safeguard, and in the PS1 version, monsters are immune to these techniques. To get Reyes and her human form, you need to have completed the battles at Fort Basila and a few other things. That's why I listed him first. I do recommend some preparation and a treasure hunter with low bravery, and to use Construct 8 for this next battle, as there is a very good and one-of-a-kind shield which you can miss out on forever. But if you are ready, head to Zoltanian Castle and enter the tavern and read the rumor about Nebesco Temple. A new area point on the map should open up, but before that, enter the trade city of Salkios, where you will have a cutscene with Era. Just make sure you buy the flower, so we'll pick the second option. After this cutscene, make your way all the way back to God for a scene, and when ready, head to the Nebesco Temple for the fight. After defeating Construct 7, there will be a scene where Reyes will turn back into a hero. Reyes is one of the most unique characters, as her equipment options are extremely limited, but she has wonderful stat grips in nearly all areas, and she has a number of passive abilities, from Dual Wield, Tame, Beastmaster, and Beast Tongue. Her support abilities only buff dragons, but they have a 100% accuracy rate. To make the most of her Dragonkin, I recommend leveling up primarily as this jump, and to get the female exclusive equipment such as Ribbon, Minerva Bustier, and gear Tyner Rouge or Japamala to further increase her breath damage. Her best damaging ability is Holy Breath by far. It's just like Rafa and Merrick's abilities, but better since it has no cast time and she can use it even when silence. Make sure to target an enemy in the center tile for more accuracy if you're on the World Alliance version, and it's completely random on PS1. Now to recruit Cloud Strife. After turning Reyes back into her human form, head all the way back to God, where there will be a cutscene. From here, you want to go all the way back to the trade city of Salgidos for a battle. Make sure Cloud doesn't die here, and he will join the party after. Sadly, he is the most disappointing unique character, and starts at level 1. On top of this, his stats aren't great overall, his limits are way too slow, and you need the mediocre Materia Blade equipped in order to use his limits. Not to mention, he has to be a soldier in order to use them as well, so you can't use limit as a secondary. But if you really want to, you can get the Materia Blade from Mount Burbenia at the highest point. Just make sure you have a character with Treasure Hunter and a jump stat of 4. And almost all of Cloud's limit break damage is dependent on how high his MA is. And to reduce his charge time, swiftness or quick charge is recommended. But even then, don't expect to see any of them landing often. But if you really want to use limit with Cloud, I recommend finishing Touch, as it's probably his best limit due to its faster charge time and negative status ailment inflection. Melidel is the last character in the main story to join the party. Her stats are solid overall, and her unyielding blades damage is based on her PA and weapon power, with Crush Armor and Crush Helm being the strongest damage-wise. Just another reminder that her abilities won't work on enemies with Safeguard, and on the PS1 version, monsters are immune to her abilities. She can equip clothing and even polearms, and crossbows. Although I don't recommend ever using crossbows, especially at this point in the game. She often gets overlooked because of Orlando and Arias, but I recommend her in nearly all party setups, and you won't ever regret using her. For the last unique character, it's the Biblos. You can recruit him in the final floor of Midlight's Deep. Just make sure he survives, and to also learn Zodiac here from the super boss, as this is missable. Biblos' zodiac sign isn't fixed, so you can keep resetting to the one you're most fond of if you like. You can't really power up his abilities as they are RNG based and have a set amount of damage. Even though he has counter, acid poach, and ignore height, he isn't all that special. But if you really want to strengthen him, increase his bravery to 97, just like any monster. When I use him, Parasite can be good with great RNG, but I still don't recommend him for the most part as he's just too slow and not really mobile. These are how all the unique characters work in Final Fantasy Tactics, from their specific abilities, damage formulas, how to recruit them, as well as other information about them. And if you want to see their ultimate builds in the game, please check out my playlist, which revolves around builds in this game. As always, J7J's here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more Tactics videos. Take care. Welcome back, everyone. This is J7J's bringing you a quick overview and guide on every single generic job in Final Fantasy Tactics, from how to unlock them, which abilities are best to learn, and other tips. Just know that requirements and GP costs are slightly higher than what the lines remaster. If you are interested in a guide for all the unique characters and best job builds, please check out the link below in the description and comments. To start off, we're beginning with the default Squire. They aren't too special overall with their stats, but before moving on from this job, I definitely recommend the JP boost and +1 the most. And if you really want, focus. JP boost increases the amount of JP you earn per action by 50%, which should save you a lot of time, so it's a nice investment. Move +1 is also solid as it will make you more mobile, and focus is great as it will increase your PA by 1 in battle, to a maximum of 99. It's great for physical attack characters, or if you want a fast and easy action to help you gain XP, JP, but it'll help you build things up like lines. Overall, it's a nice starter, but stick to other things once they become available to you. Sure, if you're lucky, you can do some nice damage with a Vesper or Golden Axe, but there are just much better things in the game. The only other starter job along with the Squire is the Chemist. Their stats are also poor, but to me, they are a lot more useful as they have passives through items, meaning you can equip another support ability, and later into the game, guns can be quite useful. Just equip attack boost for regular guns, and for magic guns, equip arcane strength, an elemental boosting accessory, and increase your faith to increase your damage with these guns. Items is one of the best job abilities in the game as well, and it's my most recommended secondary. Just learn each type of potion as you progress through the game, as enemies will hit harder. Remedy to cure most negative status ailments, and Phoenix Down to reliably revive allies and to KO undead. I also suggest Auto Potion, as it's one of the best reaction abilities in the game. Just make sure you have potions in your inventory and use the stronger ones, and learn Treasure Hunter to get those rare one-of-a-kind items in the game. Lastly, Safeguard is great against those pesky thieves, knights, and it even protects you against Divine Knight abilities. GG no re Malidal. Even though Chemists are a default starter, their abilities are just good and can be thrown into any party setup. Just don't get in too many levels as one, as their stats are just poor. Next, the Knight and the Archer. Both are unlocked by having a level 2 squad. The Knight has good PA and AoE growth rates, and the Hearts of War is great at running enemy stats, or if you want to try and go for a YOLO rend weapon. Its success rate is highly dependent on your PA and power of your weapon though, so you'll see better results later on into the game once you level up and have better weapons. But in most cases, I just recommend physically attacking with them in neutral battles, and to use them over squires, especially in Chapter 1. I recommend learning Ren's speed and power first for their abilities, and to increase their mobility with things like battle boots and +1. They tend to fall off a bit in chapters 2 and 3, but later on into chapter 4, give them Knight Swords while having high bravery, and you'll see fantastic damage and other passive benefits to wielding these ultimate weapons. An overall good physical damage dealer, especially in the post-game. But Archer is nothing like the Archer from Tactics Ogre Glass Cling Together. They are pretty decent once you get the first longbow, however their damage quickly falls off and their jump, command, aim is practically worthless. Concentration is an underrated support ability though, as it works around evasion, and it's useful against character evasion, class evasion, shields, and cloaks, but it's pretty much the only worthwhile ability. I'm not worried you can do some cheeky stuff with Adrenaline Rush, but I know they're just better things. Only become an archer if you need it at a certain job level to unlock another more useful job. They look cool, but this isn't a doctrine show. Now for the iconic white and black mages, or if you're a true FFT veteran, priest and a wizard. To unlock both of these jobs, you need a level 2 chemist, and I also recommend a more fate stat while being these jobs. Even though Unlocked early, the Black Mage still holds up very well in the late game due to the NA multiplier, meaning you get more magic attack while in this job. I recommend learning the Thunder spells first, as most enemies aren't immune to lightning or have a damage reduction against it. Then eventually pick up Arcane Strength and Flare. Just make sure to check the turn order and to have enough MP. But like my man Benjamin Barry says, use Chakra to restore both HP and MP. Forget the ethers from chemists. Overall, just a fantastic job at all points in the game, and some fantastic secondaries are other magic like Summon, White Magic, and things like Iaido and Arithmetics are all just wonderful. For these reasons, Black Mages are never a bad choice. Now, White Mages can be a great healer and reliable, as they have a slightly higher speed stat than most other jobs. Just make sure everyone has a good fate stat, and either they compatible with each other for best results with healing and reviving with
The
rage.
Archbishop
They are
Lazarus.
that offensive. Don't forget that their healing spells can damage zombie targets, and holy packs a punch on nearly all enemies, besides a few demons. I would recommend learning the cure spells and holy most. Overall, it's a nice job class if you love something that is pretty fast and can heal for big. To unlock a monk, it's slightly different in both versions of Final Fantasy Tactics. In the PS1, you need a level 2 knight, and in War of the Lions, you need a level 3 knight. Just make sure you have higher bravery to do more damage with your fists and to increase their base move. I recommend learning Aura Blast, Chakra, Purification, and Shockwave first. Even though they can equip things like hats and helmets, their well-rounded stats and versatility just make them so great. Now, for the Time Mage. For my PS1 players, you need to be a level 2 wizard, and for my War of the Lions players, you will need a level 3 Black Mage to unlock the Time Mage. They're just so wonderful throughout most of the game with their most basic spell, Haste. However, don't sleep on things like Slow and Immobilize. I recommend learning Haste first and then Slow. And later, learn Mana Shield as combined with Mana Fawn. You're nearly invincible. And to learn Teleport, as it's just a wonderful movement ability, and it's very useful on any map with some sort of elevation. It's like a must for places like Midlight Steep. If you want to be more offensive, give them things like Arithmetics or Iaido. Or if you want them to help allies, White Magic is more than good enough. Summoners can deal devastating damage by calling upon Espers. Just make sure you have a good Fate stat. To unlock them, you need a level 2 Time Mage on the PS1, and in War of the Lions, a level 3 Time Mage. Unlike other magic users, you don't have to worry about their abilities harming your allies or benefiting your enemies, so feel free to cast in a large radius. They tend to be slower than other classes, and I still prefer other magic users, but definitely if you want to use them, start out with Ramuh, and later move onto things like Bahamut and Odin. Swiftness from the Time Mage reduced cast times is also wonderful on them too. When you master this job, you need to learn Zodiac, which you can only learn from Galactus in the final floor on Midlight Steep in a one-time fight where your character must be in the summer job and also survive this attack. I recommend high bravery and mana shield for this, and an accessory that makes you immune to tome status. For PSP players, not only have a chance to learn this in the Rendezvous Mission Grave Story, but this is just a much harder fight, and not everyone can easily do this. Overall, the Summoner is great early, but they're just too slow for my taste later on into the game. Thieves are wonderful for their abilities and higher than normal speed. To unlock this job on the PS1, you need a level 2 Archer, and in War of the Lions, you need a level 3 Archer. I don't recommend using Thief for damage, or even stealing once you learn their abilities, as a monk with attack boost will have a higher steal percentage, but if you're a completionist or want stronger items, definitely learn all of your steal equipment abilities, sticky fingers to catch the best weapons from ninjas, and
My bag is
2.
full.
In short, the Thief is a wonderful job that has many useful abilities, but I don't recommend staying as one permanently. The Mystic or Cult is virtually the not as good Beowulf, but they have nice and overlooked abilities. To unlock this job on the PS1 version, we need a level 2 Priest, and in War of the Lions, we need a level 3 White Mage. I find their Invigoration or Drain spell very deadly and great versus combo, as it will deal 25% of their max HP. Just don't use it versus undead, as it will heal them and harm you them. I find their negative SAS element spells a bit slower, but I recommend picking up Defense Boost, as this one is one of the only ways to raise your defense to physical attacks. And to learn
Nice.
What's
I can't carry anymore. Out of room. I need to go back.
All right.
Afraid? Thank you for coming. You have a perhaps you chose this no Kadam, but scout based. Our journey have. I remember you have still. I've got some brand new. Found some interesting things on my latest dig.
Greet. Ain't I only
Fate smiles on you today. My dearest Hedres, do not feel despair, my love. You did everything you could. Our time together meant more than words can say. But in the end, fate is a cruel mistress. Your strength is needed to end the horrors that beset this world. My final wish is that you find your path. Love always. Mira.
They will run when they see us. Great choice.
Stand together against.
Well, she's the best follower.
The shadows. A wise choice.
Not yet. Patience.
Well crafted.
Not ready yet. Patience. I'm returning to town.
I will use this.
I wish you luck.
Make your peace quickly. Not yet. Not ready yet.
Thunderstruck. Shot through the heart.
Not yet. Make your peace quickly.
Ugh. Oh, shit. Ugh. Whew.
Shout before the wind. Bad luck for you, friend.
These abominations must die.
Burn in the light. I enjoyed that. Bad luck for you, friend.
Inspiring. A lovely piece.
Make your peace quick. Not ready yet.
Guardian has found you.
Damn.
Train for battle. They fought bravely, facing down enemies in places pulled from the deepest corners of their memories. Ours is impressive.
You look like you could use a new item of, indeterminate usefulness. A gift? All right.
Power sleeps in the dead one. We can share it, yes? You will help.
Poor Garbod. Thought he could take me on. Had proved to him otherwise. You're not him, sir. You're not him.
Patience. Not yet. Blessings of the light.
Look into the light. Heaven's Fury! Okay.
Patience. Not ready yet.
Down, and I'm cursed. Once the captain of King Leoric's army, I left only to honor my land and my king. No man has a greater love for his king than I had for mine, even as I drove my blade through his dark and corrupted heart.
Hey.
This burden is mine to bear.
We have just arrived in Tristram. I must say, I'm a bit dismayed. This place is a backwater filled with serfs and an ancient broken-down monastery. Hardly fit for the King of Condoris. I cannot fathom why Lazarus was so intent on this becoming our new seat of power.
They do not know who you are around here.
Not yet.
I might as well fight him. I'm here. The Crypt of the Skeleton King.
Not yet. Patience. Like chaff before the wind. Not ready yet. I enjoyed that. Not yet. Not ready yet.
God damn it.
I'm returning to town. My faith is rewarded.
Thank you.
I've dug up some new things for you to take a look. Look at.
Unending war.
Hello there.
Are you strong enough to survive?
The trials. Good.
Patience. Not yet. ready yet.
Woo!
Swift Guardian is here.
I need to go back.
Ah, good. I've got some brand new goods you might be.
Ah, it's fucking Diva. Fuck.
Magnificent.
Oh, I believe. Waiting for this. Yes.
It is good to fight with you again.
And it's good to fight with you again. All right.